The SVB scandal affects you if you're an investor in stocks or in cryptocurrencies. So let me explain and let me break down why it affects you. So SVB is a sort of bank where a lot of people who put money there are actually startups, usually tech startups or whatever startups it is. And during COVID, there was an influx of people who were investing in this startup, a lot of venture capitalists and co. But a lot of the money was put in this SVB bank, and we're talking of over $100 billion put there. Now, what has happened is SVP, which banks do all the time, they invest the money. They either invest it in like safe stuff, treasury bills, or government bonds and all of those things. Now, what SVP did in this case was not to go for treasury bills, which was below 0.5% per year, or about 0.2% per year, thereabout. They went for 10-year government bonds, which is not a bad thing to do. And those ones will pay 3 times what those treasury bills were doing. Now, the problem was they also didn't have reserves. So normally banks are required to have reserves in case people want to withdraw. But during COVID, all of this was relaxed by the government, the US government. So banks were not told to have reserves. So that's the next issue. Now, what had happened is as interest rates go up, the returns or the yields from government bonds go down, and that's exactly what has happened in last year. Yeah, interest rates have gone up. So technically, these people, the bank is now taking a loss. And to counteract that loss, the bank decided, you know what, let's take the loss, let's take our P and get out of this, 10-year government bonds. As people are beginning to now need their money. All of these companies that put them in are beginning to need their money, So what did they do? They took a $1.6 billion loss. Yeah. The biggest mistake they made was they announced this thing that we're taking a 1 point something billion dollar loss, and then also require their stockholders to start hoping that they will recoup this money from their stakeholders. That's where the big yawa gassed. Yeah. So now all of these companies who put their money in this bank heard of this and started to go withdraw their money. And that's where the bank run started. So all these people who had invested, who had put their money in the bank, go there and start withdrawing. We're saying to the tune of $42 billion in one single day. Now the company, the bank goes bank, literally they're barely up, because why? They can't afford to do all of those, because remember, they've taken a loss and most of this money is not even available. Now that's where the FDIC come in. That is the government agency that insures your deposit, but they only insure cash deposit up to 250,000. Now most people who put their money there put a lot more than 250,000. We're saying that over 97% of the money that was in this SVB bank was not insured by the FDIC. And the FDIC has now taken over the bank. So meaning that these people will not likely get their money, or will not likely get the full value of their money. And that's where the issue is for you as an investor. Now, a lot of companies, we expect that this bank is like one of the top 20 banks in the US, and it's the second largest bank to hit this sort of scandal and issue in the last decade. So it's such a big deal that it's expected to affect the stock market. So if you're in stock market like me, just hold on. There's going to be a really turbulent time, because we don't know. A lot of companies have exposure to that, to that bank, and therefore we expect that there will be issues. The second thing is, if you are a crypto investor, you should also be worried, especially if you are in USDC. USDC, the company that backs USDT. USDT is a stable coin that we buy that is pegged against the dollar. So one USDC is equal to $1. Unfortunately, that company has revealed that they had $3.3 billion in SVB Bank. And guess what investors do? Everyone runs to start selling their USDT, which is supposed to be a stable coin with no issue. And now that has happened, guess what? It has depegged. So we're having the same issue that we had with the USD on Luna, having the exact same issue now with USDC. So those are the issues. I hope I've been able to break down exactly how the SVB issue can affect you. What you can do as an investor now is begin to look at your portfolio and have some cash as things go down and we will begin to see in the next week how this affects. We're expecting it to affect some other regional banks, smaller banks that maybe put their money there, all of those things, and a lot more companies who are affected by all the billions, over 100 billion that's been in that bank. And at this point in time, the bank is literally belly up. Hope you understand. Let me know in the comment section if you understand what I said or if you have any questions.